Good afternoon in Israel, in Europe, and good morning in New York, and good early morning in Los Angeles. And please welcome Noah Tishby, our friend from LA, that she will start the presentation. And Noah, you are welcome. Please have the floor.
Thank you so much. Shalom to all our guests from around the world. Good morning to us here in the United States, and good afternoon to everybody in Israel. Welcome to Special Needs in Special Times, a vital virtual event taking place during the United Nations 14th session of the Conference of State Parties to the UN Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. My name is Noah Tishby. I was born and raised in Israel, and today I live in Los Angeles. In my professional life, I'm an author, actress, and producer. During my years in the US, I've also been a pro-Israel activist. I recently published a book called Israel, A Simple Guide to the Most Misunderstood Country on Earth. In my book, I talk about the country where I was born and raised. Among other things, I speak about the extensive capabilities that Israel has developed in many areas, including technology, innovation, agriculture, security, defense, and cyber. Startup nation, that's what they call my home country. Throughout my years of living in my adopted country, this great United States, I continue to believe with all my heart that Israel is indeed unique and different than any other country on earth. Though a young state facing constant existential threats, Israel is still a world leader in many, many spheres of life. Now, here's what I want to share with you. We all know how crucial technology is to our day-to-day life, right? This is obviously true for me as well. A video call with my mom in times of extreme longing from home, a laptop computer or iPad for writing and communicating with family and friends on the other side of the world, internet, WhatsApp, social media, and the ability to broadcast on television from anywhere in the world. These and many more technological wonders, which even now, during this event, make it possible for all of us to have this important discussion, even though we're not next to each other in the same room. These are miracles of human progress. I met Uri of Athena Fund through a friend here in LA. He told me about Uri's vision, which led to the establishment of Athena Fund, a laptop computer for every teacher. It was quite obvious to me that educators in my country and around the world should receive all the technological tools needed in order to educate the next generation. Well, I was wrong. Uri taught me that most teachers around the world, even in 2021, are not receiving the technological tools they require. They bring their personal equipment from home, if they have it, though not all of them do. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic and the immediate technological challenges that teachers around the world had to face sharpened the absurdness of it all and sparked a desire within me to take part in fulfilling Athena's vision. Uri told me about the changes in the lives of students with special needs due to the use of an iPad. A story about a boy who wasn't able to talk to his mom for 19 years, and now he's writing, "Mom, I love you. Mom, I'm cold. Mom, I'm scared." Gave me goosebumps and furthered my resolve to support Athena's vision. Technology isn't the goal. It's a basic tool which enables us to successfully reach the future ahead. As human beings, we're obliged to provide a digital toolbox to teachers, especially those who have yet to receive this much needed support. We must do it in order to make the most basic thing possible in any country: educating the next generation in line with ongoing human development. This is what Athena Fund is doing, providing technological tools and professional training to pedagogical teams and promoting technological educational projects in line with current students and their future needs. During our session today, we'll listen to the moving opening remarks of Uri Ben-Ari, founder and president of Athena Fund, who will highlight the nonprofit's activities, achievements, and future plans. We'll hear from Yaffa Ben David, chairwoman of the Israel Teachers Union, and Professor Amnon Shashua, who will explain the importance of technology for people with disabilities. We'll listen to other speakers who will share their experience with technology assisting people with disabilities. especially during COVID-19. And we'll hear the results of the Bar-Ilan University study about the success of using technology in special education during the pandemic. I'm excited and I'm happy to give the floor to Uri Ben-Ari, founder and president of Athena Fund. But before Uri speaks, I would like to present to you Athena Fund's video. So the video and Uri, please.
הצעדים הראשונים שלי והכניסה שלי לעולם המחשב זה בזכות המחשב שקיבלתי מקרן אתנה. אני משתמשת בו, אני הולכת איתו ועדיין נושאת אותו בתוך התיק שכתוב קרן אתנה. משם התחיל המהפך שלי. התפקיד של המורה והמורה השתנה בשנים האחרונות, והיה נכון לגשר על הפער הזה. וזה פער שניתן לגשר עליו, שלא רק לתת מחשבים, אבל לתת הכשרה, איזשהו ארגז כלים דיגיטלי למורות.
Teachers take care of our most important resource, our children. Work with the necessary equipment makes a huge difference. It provides them with all kinds of beautiful opportunities.
אני קיבלתי מקרן אתנה ארגז כלים וגם השתלמות של 120 שעות, שזה עוזר לנו להשתמש נכון במחשב וגם 3 שנות אחריות.
לדעתי זה כל כך חשוב שנתנו למורה שלי מחשב נייד, מכיוון שלפעמים יכולים המחשב נייד של בית ספר דפוסים ואין זמן. יש את המחשב שלה הפרטי שיכולה לקחת אותו לבית ולא רצה ומחפשת.
זה עולם שהילדים נולדו אליו. אי אפשר לנתק את זה מתוך החינוך ומתוך בתי הספר.
المعلم تعلمنا بالمحسب درس بيكون أحسن.
בזכות המחשב שיש למורה שלי, למדתי הרבה דברים חדשים על המחשב שבכלל לא ידעתי שקיימים, ואני יודעת שאני אצליח בעתיד.
כל הזמן אני משתמשת במחשב, אני חושבת שזה הכלי הכי נכון להקרין את הספר הדיגיטלי מולם.
זה שימוש ומיצוי של העולם הטכנולוגי, להגיע לעולמות שלמים, חדשים ומיוחדים, בכל העולם החינוכי. בעיניי זה פשוט דבר מדהים.
קרן אתנה ידעה לתת את האייפד למורים של החינוך המיוחד, והמכשיר המיוחד הזה זה בעצם מה שפתח לעידן את הצוהר להיות חלק מכולנו. עידן לא מדבר, ואין לו גם שום דרך היה לתקשר איתנו. זאת אומרת, אחרי 9.5 שנים בעצם שהיה לנו שום תקשורת איתו, האייפד היה כלי שאיתו גילינו שאפשר לדבר איתו ולתקשר איתו. הבנו שבעצם יודע ושומע הכל.
אם לא היה אייפד, לא הייתי יכול להביע את הרגש שלי. יש טכנולוגיה, אז למה לא להשתמש בזה? פשוט מגלה עולם ומלואו דרך האייפד.
האייפד נותן להם את האפשרות לגשר על פערים, כמו למשל מוגבלות ראייה, שאפשר בעצם להגדיל או להזיז, או למשל מוגבלות בתנועה, שמאוד קשה לילדים עם מוגבלות מסוימת לכתוב. יש לנו את יאיר בעצם לפני החשיפה שלו לאייפד ואחרי החשיפה, וזה 2 ילדים שונים כמעט לגמרי.
קרן אתנה קודם כל נותנת הזדמנות, כי אני לא הייתי הולכת וקונה אייפד, כי אין לי איך לממן את זה. ביחד עם זה אנחנו בעצם מייצרים סביבה חינוכית שהיא בעצם חדשה לגמרי. די הפך את העולם של החינוך.
אמא ואבא, בעזרת הטכנולוגיה, מגלים שהבן והבת שלהם יש להם עולם מקסים שבא לידי ביטוי, אפשר לתקשר איתם, והם מתקשרים איתך.
לחינוך מיוחד האייפדים זה כמו האוויר לנשימה, ויותר מאוויר לנשימה. זה התקשורת של הילדים האלה עם העולם. ילד שלא מדבר, לא מפנה לנו אפילו מבט. התחלנו להקליט איתו באמצעות האייפד, ופשוט גילינו שהעולם שלם, שהוא כותב על רגשות. פתאום יש איזשהו שיח שלם, גם במילה. אפשר להבין מה קורה עם הילד.
ברגע שאתה מביא את האייפד לתוך הלמידה, יש פתאום מתעוררת איזושהי מוטיבציה פנימית של תלמידים שאנחנו לא ראינו אותה בעצם לפני כן. פתאום יש איזה ניצוץ בעיניים והתלמיד מתעורר ובא לו פתאום ללמוד.
האייפדים, המחשבים, הצליחו להוכיח לנו זה שהילדים שלנו מסוגלים להרבה יותר ממה שנראה לעין. קרן אתנה זה לא רק גוף שנותן והולך, קרן אתנה זה לב, מישהו שמגיע באמת עם רצון לעזור לילדים האלה להוציא את העולם הפנימי שלהם החוצה. וכל הזמן מתעניינים, וכל הזמן שואלים, ויש לנו קשר מדהים איתם.
Thank you, Noah, and thank you to all the speakers who have joined us today, and thank you to all the participants from many countries around the world. I appreciate the fact that you took the time to join us supporting our important mission. Thanks to our team, Daphna, Ina, Kathy, Michal, Irit, David, Dan, and Elliot, who put it together, and to Yaniv and People and Computers that enabled this platform for us. I would like also to thank the people of ECOSOC who invited us to share our experience. My name is Yuri Ben-Ari, and I am the founder and president of Athena Fund, an Israeli NGO founded in 2006. And I would like to share with you our presentation that some of it you have seen on the video. So we were founded on 2006. Athena Fund empowers teachers by providing them with a digital toolbox. This advanced toolbox includes a laptop or an iPad, professional training, and more. Our objectives are to empowering teachers by providing them with the technological tools and training for their advancement, and closing the digital gap existing today between teachers and students born into the digital age. Since our establishment, as you have seen in the video, in 2006, Athena Fund has distributed digital toolboxes to 28,000 teachers in 2,400 schools across Israel. These teachers have received 3,360,000 hours of professional training. And to date, we have invested over $45 million, actually positively impacting more than 650,000 students in Israel. We also have established a dedicated program for special education teachers. By equipping these teachers with iPads and training, special needs students can communicate better with their surroundings, learn better at school, and acquire vital life skills. To date, Athena Fund has provided more than 9,500 special education teachers with a digital toolbox, changing the learning experience and lives of 76,000 students with special needs. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Bar-Ilan University in Israel conducted a research study among teachers who received iPads and training from Athena and its partners. Findings from that study showed that the iPad and training had a very positive influence on teaching and learning, with 78% of teachers reporting on improvement in teaching. And you will see later the research that has been done for while the corona pandemic. Teachers who received our digital toolbox before the pandemic were ready for remote education. The laptop or iPad and the training they received made it easier for both them and their students. Athena Fund continued to distribute our digital toolboxes all throughout the pandemic and all across Israel. Special education teachers equipped with iPads and training from Athena adapted and continue connecting with their students remotely, which proved critical for the children and their families. Our projects today are digital toolbox for every teacher that you could see on the video. We have a new project that is Imagine Box, which is introducing immersive technology into schools as a step towards the future classroom of 2030. I'm sorry, I don't have much time to share with you all the details about it, but another project that we are developing is Opportunity, teaching coding and application buildings to youth with special needs and helping them find workplaces in the business sector. And the last one is our project for English teachers, providing innovative platform for English teachers to share their lessons with students and other teachers around the globe. Actually, we are developing, and this is the opportunity to thank our strategic partners that stood with us throughout the years and also during the Corona time. The Union of the Teachers, the Ministry of Education, Bank Masad, Ted Harrison Family Foundation, and the Sylvan Adams Family Foundation. This is an opportunity to say thank you to all our donors and partners, our board directors. So I cannot talk about every one of them, but I would like to just show you and share with you that we have a lot of partners to this initiative and business partners. Also, I want to thank our board of directors and our advisory board members and our team that is so dedicated to this mission. And this is an opportunity to thank them very much. A few days ago, I had the honor to present our message about our mission at the UN Conference for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. For us at Athena, this was an important milestone and welcome recognition. And now I am pleased to introduce my mentor, one of Athena's biggest supporters, a leader on our advisory board, and the former commander of the Israeli Air Force, former CEO of El Al, Major General Eliezer Shkedy. Mr. Eliezer Shkedy, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, shalom. It's a great honor and a pleasure to be here and to speak in front of such a distinguished audience. I would like to tell you a short story, personal story, about my youngest child, Omer. In those days, I was a student in the Naval Postgraduate School, university in Monterey, California, between San Francisco and Los Angeles. My youngest child, Omer, studied in the Montessori School. Montessori School was considered as the Harvard of the education of young children. A typical day in our life, since Omer was a big fan of sport, he wanted to see TV all the time, hockey, baseball, football, basketball, whatever. At 6 o'clock in the morning, he woke up, watched TV. 7:45, he stood with a small bag near the door. I took him to the Montessori school. My wife, Anat, took him, picked him up when he finished. And I came back to home in the afternoon. One day, I opened the door and I saw my wife crying. I asked her, what happened? She didn't answer. Crying. After a couple of seconds, she said, you won't believe what happened today. I came today to pick up Omer from the Montessori school, and the principal of the Montessori school, Michael, told me, Mrs. Shkedy, I do not know how to say it to you, but I must. I'm teaching in the Montessori school for about 20 years. I taught all the students in the Montessori school to read and to write. Unfortunately, I tried all the methods of the Montessori school to teach your son Omer to read and to write. He does not read and he does not write. Crying. More than this, he said, I think that he will not read and he will not write. I looked at her and I told her, who the fuck is this Michael? I am telling you that in 3 months from today, he will read. She looked at me and she said, how comes? Michael, 20 years is the principal of the Montessori school saying that he will not read and not write, and you say that he will read in 3 months from today? I said, yes. I did a debriefing as we did all the time in the Israeli Air Force. The debriefing has 3 steps. The first step is to put a virtual meeting in front of you and to say what happened. I looked at the virtual mirror, and what I saw is Michael saying that my son will never read and write. No chance at all. What do you want to do first time? To break the mirror on the head of Michael. But this is what Michael said. What could I do? Second step is, why did it happen? It happened because he taught him in English, and he taught him with the methods of the Montessori school. What to do in the future? I decided to do totally different thing, and I'm telling you that if it wouldn't have happened, I will try another thing and another thing. No chance that I will give up. Anyhow, I decided that I'll try to teach him in Hebrew. I taught him letters in Hebrew, and I'll try to use his passion to sport. In those days, he was a big fan of a soccer team in Israel named Maccabi Haifa. In those days, it was a great soccer team. We are happy to say that today, again, Maccabi Haifa is a great team in Israel. Anyhow, in those days, Maccabi Haifa had a great scorer. His name was Alon Mizrahi. His nickname was the airplane. I told Omer, you know, I just don't care about Michael, and I just don't care about the Montessori school. Since in those days, the internet was not as it is today, only the beginning, we got newspapers from paper to the United States. I told him, Omer, the only mission you have every day is to do one thing, to find an article in the newspaper and find the words Maccabi, Haifa, Alon, Mizrahi, airplane, ball, corner, whatever you say. Anyhow, 3 months after Michael said that Omer will never read, he read fluently adult newspaper in Hebrew. And I'm thinking to myself, what could have happened if I would have believed to this Michael? Since then, we have a special saying in our family. Every time that someone is telling us that we cannot do something, who the fucking guy is Michael, and we are going for it. I would like to wish all of us that we will have the ability to dream, to understand, to develop the methods, to develop the technology, and much more important, the belief that we can do everything. And I think that Athena is doing with a young generation with problems, but we believe that we can do everything. And remember, if someone is telling us that we cannot do something, who the fuck is Michael? And go for it. Thank you very much.
Shkedy, thank you very much. We believe that technology can create great miracles, especially for people with disabilities. I would like to introduce Professor Amnon Shashua, Zach's Professor of Computer Science in Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Professor Shashua not only founded Mobileye, the autonomous driving pioneer, but also co-founded OrCam, which harnesses computer vision and artificial intelligence to assist persons with disability. This is a great honor for me to present to you Professor Amnon Shashua and his presentation about the use of artificial intelligence for benefit of people with disabilities. Professor Shashua, the floor is yours.
Greetings to everyone. It's my pleasure really to share with you some thoughts about how to harness technology, especially artificial intelligence, to benefit people with disabilities, especially society in terms of visual impairment, blind, hearing impairment. Artificial intelligence can be a great tool. A few words about myself. As Ori mentioned, I'm a professor of computer science. My specialty is artificial intelligence, computer vision, natural language processing, natural language understanding. I co-founded Mobileye. Today I'm the CEO of Mobileye. Mobileye develops artificial intelligence to enable driving assist and autonomous driving. Today, it's an Intel company. Also co-founded OrCam, and I'm the co-CEO of OrCam back in 2010. And the idea there was to see how we can build a device that can see and can hear and can think. You wear the device on you as a user, and it will interpret the visual world, understand the visual world, also understand the auditory world, and provide value to the user. And then we told ourselves, who could be the first user of something like this? And the natural answer is someone who is blind, someone who does not see, or someone who doesn't see well, kind of a visual impaired. And we started gradually building functionalities. So the first thing that we found out is that people who start losing their sight, the first thing that goes away is the ability to read. Because fonts is something small, so even if you start magnifying it, at some point, reading a document, reading a newspaper, reading a book becomes something almost impossible. And here, this is the first thing that technology can help. So imagine a camera the size of a finger device that you click onto your eyeglasses. And the camera sees what you don't see. For example, it will see the newspaper and start reading you all the text. So we developed a function where it can read text anywhere. So it could be text in a book, text in a journal, in a newspaper, text in the wild, if you have a billboard, a traffic sign, anywhere that there is text on a product. And the way we interacted, the user interacts with the devices with the hand gesture. For example, you point, the device sees your finger and then takes a picture and starts reading the text closest to your finger. That was back in 2015. So we started, that was the first big push in helping people with disabilities. Then we said, well, we can add more. For example, face recognition. People who don't see have difficulties in knowing who is the person in front of them before that person starts speaking. So we added the ability to recognize faces. Second, we can recognize barcodes, and we have a library of millions of products in the device. So once the camera sees a barcode, it will provide information about the details of the product. Then we added more hand gestures. For example, if you do like this, the device will stop doing whatever it's doing. If you raise your hand, it will tell you what the time is. Then we started adding natural language processing. We said, well, you want to interact with the device and extract information from the scene, the kind of information that you want to know from the scene. So for example, if I'm holding a newspaper, I first would like to read only the headlines. And then after I hear the headlines, I'll then want to read a specific article from one of those headlines. So you start talking to the device. You tell the device, read me headlines. And it will start reading you headlines. And then you tell the device stop and tell it, read me article number 3. So it will start reading you the article number 3. Or say I have a menu in front of me. I don't want the device to read me the entire menu. I just want to know whether there is fish. So I can say start from, and I'll say fish. Or if I'm looking at a telephone bill and I don't want to read the entire telephone bill, I want to know whether it's addressed to me. So I can tell the device, are there named entities? So it will tell me, if there's a name there and what name it is. Or I can say start from total. I want to know what's the amount due. So in this way, you interact with an artificial intelligent device. Again, it's the size of a finger on your eyeglass, and it will extract the information that you need from the scene. Then we started developing kind of outdoor capabilities. So the device has the ability to recognize all sorts of categories. For example, you go outside and you tell the device, find me elevators. So the moment the device sees an elevator door, it will tell you, 12 o'clock, there's an elevator door. Then you can say, find me the buttons. So it will tell you when it sees the buttons of the elevator. Or I can say, find me, and I say name of someone. Once that person appears in the field of view, the device will say, I found that person. So by saying find and mention a category, whether it's text, whether it's a name of a person, whether it's a certain object, the device will help you kind of orienting yourself relative to the scene. Then we started developing navigation possibilities. Say, now you go into Port Authority and you get into the entrance, and from there you want to go to line number 23. You'd like the device to tell you, take left, right, left, right. So here the device can learn a route and then repeat that route by giving you information. Other people can upload that route and you can download it and take that route for the first time. Or say you enter into an office building, you found yourself to a specific office, and now you want to go back. So you can tell the device, take me back. So you can see how artificial intelligence, the ability to see and listen and understand and decipher sound and decipher visual context can provide a huge value for someone who doesn't see or doesn't see well, like a visually impaired. I'll end by saying what is the next frontier. The next frontier that we are developing is aiding people with hearing disabilities. So there's one huge problem when you're talking about hearing disabilities. It's being able to tune into a conversation in a noisy environment where you have background noise, like you're sitting in a restaurant and there are now dishes clanking and who knows what. And then there are other people talking. You are sitting, and beside you, there are other people talking, but you don't want to, you want to filter them out. You just want to have a conversation with the person in front of you. So hearing aids of today cannot do that. They'll amplify all the sounds. And then people simply disconnect their hearing aid and they kind of disconnect from the discussion. And then other people think that they're demented. And in fact, the only problem they have, they don't hear well. So here again, technology can help. Imagine a small device the size of half of my finger. I put it on my shirt. The camera views the person in front of me, tracks the lip movement of the person in front of me, takes the incoming acoustics and filters out everything else and leaves only the sound from the person in front of me. And that way I can have a conversation with a person under very, very noisy conditions. So here's another example where artificial intelligence, the ability to decipher visual context, decipher acoustics, being able to manipulate acoustics in ways that 10 years ago would have been considered science fiction, today can help people with disabilities.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amnon. These are really good news we really salute you for that. And this is also the opportunity to thank Ehud Ulmer to put us together. And for your knowledge, he was the Prime Minister at the time that we started this project, and I really appreciate what he has done for us. So thank you very much, Amnon, and I really appreciate you came to us and spoke about it. Now we move to another speaker, actually the Secretary of the Union of the Teachers, Yaffa Ben David, the chairwoman. When speaking about teachers and their empowerment, there is no one better to represent teachers than Mrs. Yaffa Ben David, chairwoman of the Israeli Teacher Union. Ms. Ben David fights to improve teacher status, salaries, and benefits, and is a great supporter of our mission at Athena, especially in the area of special education. We now will present a video for Mrs. Yaffa Ben David. Please, Yaniv.
בוקר טוב ואחר צהריים טובים לכל מי שנמצא בישראל או בארצות אחרות. אני רוצה להודות לקרן אתנה, ובמיוחד לאורי Ben-Ari, שמעמל למען מערכת החינוך כבר הרבה שנים, הוא מצליח לחדש כל פעם מחדש. והיום, הכנס המרגש הזה, שאנחנו לוקחים בו חלק קטן. כמי שעומדת בראש הסתדרות המורים בשנים האחרונות, אני רואה שהעיסוק במערכת החינוך המיוחד הולך וגובר ככל שחולפות השנים. הפוקוס שלנו כאיגוד מקצועי, כמו גם השקעת משאבי זמן וכסף, בתוך בתי הספר וגני הילדים ותשומת ליבם של עובדי ההוראה. לשמחתנו, שילוב של טכנולוגיה בשיטות הלימוד ובפדגוגיה בקרב אוכלוסיות החינוך המיוחד יכול לסייע מאוד, לחסוך זמן יקר והרבה תסכול של המורים ושל התלמידים. שילוב נכון של טכנולוגיה יכול לתרום לתהליך דינמי, מעניין ואפקטיבי שהתלמיד עובר ביחס לחומר הנלמד ביחס לעצמו וביחס למחנך שלו. גם היום, כשמורים משתמשים בטכנולוגיה לתועלת תהליך הלמידה, הפדגוגיה מנחה את אופן העבודה ומפעילה את הטכנולוגיות במקום שבו הן מועילות ומשרתות את האינטרס הפדגוגי. בין היתר, אנשי החינוך מציינים כי השימוש בטכנולוגיה תורם מאוד להכנת התלמידים לדרישות עולם העבודה והאקדמיה של המאה ה-21, מסייעת מאוד ברכישת מיומנויות הנדרשות לתלמידים שללא טכנולוגיות חלק מהתלמידים לא היו יכולים להצליח בהן. השוק הישראלי מתפתח בתחום כל הזמן ונעשות התאמות שוטפות לאוכלוסיות השונות ולצרכים המשתנים של כל סוג לקות ובעיה. למשל, לילדים המתקשים בקריאה או בכתיבה, הקלדה או תנועת עט, עכבר, יכולות מאוד לסייע בהתמודדות עם קשיים מוטוריים או עם הנגשת חומר למידה שבכיתה, עם לוח ומורה לא רלוונטי עבור חלק מהילדים. אנו רואים שלצד היתרונות הפדגוגיים, הטכנולוגיה מובילה להעצמת התלמיד, להעצמת המחנך שלו ומסייעת בהעלאת המוטיבציה ללמוד ולגלות סקרנות לעולמות חדשים. במהלך הקורונה ראינו עד כמה השפיעה הטכנולוגיה על החיים של כולנו, עד כמה היא אפשרה לצוותי ההוראה לשמור על קשר ולהמשיך ללמד למרות המגבלות. גם בקרב ילדים צעירים מאוד, עם קשיי לימודים. לשמחתי, הייתה לי הזכות לראות את זה מקרוב אצל ביתי, שהיא גננת שילוב, שעובדת עם ילדים בחינוך המיוחד, שהצליחה גם מרחוק, לעשות דברים מרגשים ומרשימים שהפליאו אותי. אני רוצה להודות לכולם על הזמן שניתן לנו להציג את העשייה הנרחבת בישראל בתחום, ולקוות שהידע הרב שנצבר פה יוכל לסייע גם למערכות חינוך נוספות בעולם.
Thank you very much, Yaffa. Thank you. I'm sorry you couldn't attend today, but I really appreciate your support in our mission to empower the teachers. And now it is my pleasure to introduce another speaker, a good friend from UNESCO, Natalia Amelina, who is the chief of the unit of teacher professional development and networking at UNESCO. Mrs. Amelina has guided us, Athena and myself, in the development of our Imagine Box, our interactive discovery zone for children with disabilities. So, Mrs. Natalia Amelina, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Yuri, for this introduction. Dear organizers, dear experts and participants, it is my pleasure to take part in this event, and thank you, Yuri, for invitation. I can say that all activities implemented by Athena Fund is of high importance and is one of the steps for the capacity building in education at the national level. Let me say some words about my institute. There is UNESCO Institute for Information Technologies in Education, and I have been working there for more than 16 years already. The institute was established in Moscow in 1997, and it is one of the 7 UNESCO international institutions of the first category. We are working in the field of information and communication technologies in education in different levels and forms of education, starting from early childhood education through primary education, secondary, technical and vocational education and training, and higher education. And one of the priorities and flagship projects of our institute is a project titled ICT for Inclusive Education. Today, I would like to share with you some thoughts about the educational opportunities of students with disabilities during the pandemic. Unfortunately, educational opportunities remain out of reach for the majority of children with disabilities worldwide. Children with disabilities are among the most left behind in education systems. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the shortcomings, fragilities, risks, and inequalities in the education of learners with disabilities within and across countries. According to the United Nations, around 1 billion persons with disabilities in the world are among the hardest hit by COVID-19. The lack of disaggregated data prevents determining the precise number of students with disabilities worldwide by disability, gender, and age who have received inadequate education support as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. Around the world, many countries employed technology-based solutions to ensure continuity of education through alternative delivery modalities, including online and distance learning. Let me inform you that recently, just during the spring, we have implemented our research studies jointly with UNESCO Institute for Educational Planning. It was a rapid assessment and analysis of the state of the art in 2 African countries. They are Rwanda and Mauritius. All of us know that access to information is one of the central concerns in education of people with disabilities, as information and educational resources have to be tailored to the needs of various users. New technologies play a crucial assistive role in delivery and access to educational resources for students with disabilities. One of the key lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic is that education will go digital. However, safe and innovative use of technology in teaching and learning, along with inclusive and equitable accessibility to quality digital resources, are among the biggest challenges faced by the education sector. What we have learned from this study, rapid assessment that I have mentioned, is that for the most vulnerable learners, online and distance education deepened existing social inequalities. Governmental agencies and NGOs in Rwanda and Mauritius have implemented many activities in the field of inclusive education, including trainings of teachers, creating learning materials, and adapting school infrastructure. However, in many cases, we need to highlight the need for more coordinated efforts to tackle this issue effectively. Information and communication technologies and open and distance learning solutions for the education of persons with disabilities can act as a real-time support system, but it requires a system-wide educational reform where multiple channels to diverse learning opportunities are recognized and learning beyond formal education is encouraged. It is of primary importance to strengthen global coordination and to create encouraging ecosystem for ongoing open and distance learning for inclusive education. This will enable sharing resources among educational institutions and will support efficient communication among administrators, researchers, practitioners at national and international levels. Coming back to the activities of our institute, let me inform you that we are working on both sides, at practical level and at policy level. For practical issues, we establish resource centers in different countries in the world, equipped with advanced technologies and support networking and capacity building at the national level. At the global level, we collect advanced experience and share it with UNESCO member states. I would like to say that we are very open to new initiatives. And let me stop here and wish all of you to stay safe. Thank you very much, Yuri.
Thank you, Natalia. I really appreciate our cooperation, and thank you for coming here today. This is a great honor for us to have you with us. Thank you, Natalia.
Thank you very much.
Now, I am pleased to introduce another speaker. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Pravina Sukhraj-Ely, who is the first Vice President of the International Council for the Education of persons with visual impairment and the World Blind Union representative on the IDA Inclusive Education Task Team. Dr. Sukhraj-Ely will also highlight the need for technology when helping people with disabilities. Please welcome Dr. Pravina Sukhraj-Ely. Please.
A very good afternoon to you all from sunny South Africa. I am really privileged today to address you all. Like many learners with visual impairments and disabilities in developing countries, I attended a segregated special residential school. Access to technological devices, Braille textbooks, the curriculum, trained educators was severely limited. When I started university, I had to adapt to socializing with and learning alongside my sighted peers for the very first time. Lecturers had no training or skills on how to be inclusive in their teaching methods and assessment techniques. Accessible and affordable technology was not widespread, and I relied on a tape recorder and cassettes to manage my studies. The evolution in technological advancements from the time I began my first degree in 1996 to when I completed my fourth degree, which was a PhD in inclusive education in 2008, made a significant impact on my ability to perform on par with my sighted peers in university and in the field of employment. During the COVID-19 pandemic, educational institutions in most countries were closed, and alternative, hastily developed methods had to be adopted for continuity of the learning process. For children with disabilities, this created severe challenges. Most children with disabilities did not have access to their assistive devices or their technology, as it was left behind at their residential special schools, which made basic reading, writing, and learning impossible to do while they were at home during lockdown. Further, where technological and media interfaces were adopted to help other learners whilst they were at home, these interfaces unfortunately did not assist with access for learners with disabilities. At this point, I must take the opportunity to commend and congratulate the Athena Fund for its project of providing digital toolboxes to teachers in Israel. It is evident that the project has had a positive impact on promoting quality education, and even more so during the COVID-19 pandemic. Last year, the International Disability Alliance launched its Inclusive Education Flagship Report. The report states unequivocally that a single inclusive education system is the only way to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 4. Inclusive education requires an educational transformation which is unachievable if it is considered as an afterthought or as an add-on to existing systems. The supports, technology, resources, etc. required must be provided for all children within the contours of a single inclusive education system rather than in segregated parallel systems. In certain countries, technology has delivered amazing opportunities for children with disabilities, as we can even see from Athena's work. It has now become widely acknowledged and recognized that technology is a game changer in education for children with disabilities. In line with these observations, the International Council for the Education of People with Visual Impairments launched an exemplary initiative, as have many other organizations across the world. It is referred to as the Visionary Learning Technology Initiative, and its object is to provide technology to learners with visual impairments to empower them to learn alongside their sighted classmates. This initiative is a comprehensive strategy that facilitates multi-agency collaboration to ensure that learners with visual impairments in diverse settings have access to the right kit, meaning the devices they require to read and write, content, the learning material and textbooks they require in accessible formats, and confidence, that is the skills and training they require to be able to use the device. It also provides, when we provide kit, confidence, and content, we must include teachers as well, because teaching and learning are inseparable phenomena. In concluding, I want to highlight 3 recommendations. Governments must develop a technology strategy that interfaces with the implementation of SDG 4. It needs to include all stakeholders in the development and implementation of the strategy. Secondly, a central fund must be established for the purchase of technology that responds to the unique and diverse needs of learners with disabilities. And thirdly, major international and national technological companies must be urged to develop mainstream and assistive technology, applying universal design to achieve economies of scale. Thank you, Yuri, for this opportunity and for allowing me to share.
Thank you very much, Provina. Really appreciate your appearance with us today and your sharing with us. And thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And now I would like to share with you a research studies that has been done by Bar-Ilan University. Well, these studies have shown that providing a computer and training to teachers can change the world, not only for the teacher, but also for her or his students. I would like to share with you the results of a study that has been done by this research team, Professor Adina Shamir, together with Dr. Sigal Eden from Bar-Ilan University, and Dr. Margalit Navon conducted research before and during COVID-19 pandemic among teachers who had received computers and training from Athena Fund. The title of the study is Using Laptops and iPads During COVID-19 Among Teachers in Regular and Special Education. The study involved 711 educators, 90% women, who received laptops or iPads from Athena Fund. About 55% work in mainstream education and about 45% work in special education. Most special education teachers received iPads because it is better tailored to children with special needs. And actually the teachers use the tools for distance learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Before the pandemic, only 45% of the participants used the laptops or iPads on the daily basis, while during the pandemic, 70% used it on a daily basis. 77% of the participants had training in computers and technology in teaching. 63% of the participants, 63% of the participants said that this training was very useful for distance learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. The technological and pedagogical knowledge acquired by the educators via this training significantly contributed to interactivity, accessibility, problem solving, availability, and convenience. It is also important to note that the majority of over 60% said that the advanced training courses were useful for the distance learning that was needed during the COVID-19 pandemic. An absolute majority of the participants said that the advanced training contributed mainly to the diversity of learning tools and teaching methods. Now, I am pleased to introduce Professor Adina Shamir, Head of PhD Committee, Director of Center for Technology in SPED, the Special Education School of Education at Bar-Ilan University. Thank you, Adina, for your important contribution and for leading these significant research studies. What would you like to add about your recent research? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Uri. Thank you, Sigal Eden, my colleague, and of course, our PhD students While looking at the results, it is not surprising that teachers who had received an iPad used it more during the COVID-19. However, certainly it is interesting to hear that the professional training they got together with the iPad has advanced their teaching ability and interaction with parents and pupils during the Zoom meeting. Well, in light of previous findings about the digital gap between teachers and students, this is really significant. Regarding special education, we see that the use of technology is really vital. Therefore, the need, the necessity, the actual use of technology is evident before and during the pandemic. And so we can see that the project was really strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Adina. Thank you so much for your contribution and for your support. And thank you for being here today with us. And now I am happy to introduce another speaker, Nitzan. She is the director of Technology Center in Beit, Issie, Shapiro. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Mrs. Nitzan and her colleagues took good care of their special education students with the help of advanced technology, and she will tell us about it. Noah, the floor is yours, please.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much, Uri and Daphna and Kathy, for all the collaboration that we are doing all those years, and for inviting me here. My name is Nitzan. I'm an occupational therapist and the director of the Technology Center at Beit Issie Shapiro in Israel. And I'm going to share with you some of our experience during the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact of technology. Beit Issie Shapiro is one of the leading organizations in Israel in the field of disability. We work in Israel and globally. There are many units at Beit Issie Shapiro, and I think the most relevant to this presentation is that we have 3 educational frameworks. We have 2 early intervention centers for very young children, Hebrew and Arabic speakers, and also special education school. And like we saw also in the beginning of this session, there is a lot of focus on technology in our center. You can see here in the picture, we are using an iPad, a computer with eye gaze system, those big touch screen and other technologies. And we really believe that technology is a significant tool to promote participation and inclusion. And we're using it for communication, education, play, leisure, and more. And thank you so much to Athena Foundation that most of our staff members have their own iPad. And this is really, really crucial for the implementation of using those technologies. And then it happened. We weren't prepared for that, the COVID-19 pandemic, but we had to find an immediate solution to support the children and the family. And it was challenging, but I believe that at the same time, we learned something. We have now very useful tools for the future. So we used many types of technology. Most of them are very mainstream, like laptop and iPad, and mainstream software and apps like Zoom and YouTube. And I believe that because our staff were pretty much technological already, it was not so hard for them to adjust to the new reality and using all those technologies. We found out that the most efficient way for our family is to use pre-recorded video, because then they can use it whenever it's convenient to them. So we made hundreds of videos and also sent them supportive learning materials and activity cards from the therapist. And we have, and still have, 3 YouTube channels with hundreds of videos from our virtual kindergarten, Hebrew and Arabic, and of course the Arabic version can be used also out of Israel, and from our special education school with a lot of content in many kinds of topics. And because it was so successful and we got great feedback from all over the country, now we have in a mainstream TV channel in Hot VOD Young, we continue in doing those videos and the virtual kindergarten for children with disability and without disability. They can watch together, and it's great for inclusion. And here you can see how it was so important that our staff had those iPads at home. We use it for, like I said, many topics. So for speech therapy and to encourage social play, how to play together while the children are in lockdown, and for math, and really for, I think I can say, for all the topics. And also the online, not just pre-recorded. The online could be, for some of the students, harder, but we did it. Physiotherapy session, OT session about independent in mealtime. And it was challenging for some of the students, but for some of them it was great. And also play together again, Zoom being always all our school. And about the family. So again, it could be challenging to be, for a parent to be a teacher or a therapist. It's not his job. And also to use technology. Sometimes they don't have those technology at home, or they don't know how to use it. And there's a lot of distractions at home. But there are also some benefits, for example, the sibling involvement. We got many great pictures from the parents that the siblings are together. They're doing the same activity that we are sharing with them, because the teacher creates an activity on their iPad and send it to the family, and then they can use it on the computer or on any device and do it. And it was a very good window for us to see the home environment and to increase the parent involvement, and the parents learn how to facilitate the child better. And now what? We really better prepared for additional short or longer closure. We can use the Zoom. We know about the Zoom before this crisis, but now we use it. If, for example, a child's at home because he post-surgery, and it happens sometimes, we can just, like in the picture, taking an iPad, turn on the Zoom, put it on a stick with wheels, and then that's it. He's with us the whole day, and it's a great solution. And I really believe this is a great tool for life for our students that now know how to use the Zoom. So I summarize and say that it was a sudden need, and we're learning as we go. Technology is essential and need to be easily accessible to and for all. There are challenges, but there are also advantages. This is a blog. In English, take it easy. Also in Hebrew and Arabic, you can sign up. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you. You are an example for how technology can work and what you have done for special education, special need students. And I really appreciate you joined us today and share the story. And now I would like to introduce, last but not least, one of our best friends of Athena, Justine Zwerling. She is a mother of a child with special needs. We met Mrs. Justine Zwerling during a ceremony when we provided iPads to the teachers in her daughter's school, after which she became a big supporter of our mission to empower special ed teachers. Please let me introduce to you Mrs. Justine Zwerling. Justine, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to be here with you today. My day job is the London Stock Exchange, and I do UAE Israel Business Council. But today, I'm really here to be here as a proud volunteer, the amazing Athena Fund. Though most of my time I spend battling and advocating for others without a voice, today is the first time I speak publicly about my family's journey with special needs. I'd like to begin by replacing the description of people with disabilities to people with determination, a phrase that I learned from my new friends and family in the UAE since the Abraham Accords. It's also the most appropriate, so let's stick with that. My family's journey with special needs began when we realized that my daughter responded differently to touch, to smell, to sound, to noise. It literally looked like life was attacking her and she was on the defense with constant sensory overload, meltdowns, challenges in recognizing facial expressions, and daily overwhelming frustrations. She was diagnosed at 4.5. And then overnight, I turned into fierce mama bear on steroids because I knew that I had to fight and lobby. And in Israel, we have a term that we say, when the door is closed, go through the window. So I spent my time lobbying to get the first special needs school open in where we live, camping outside the mayor's office going, hi, it's me again. Yep, I will still be here until you open those classes. And today we have an amazing amount of about 10 special needs classes in 5 different schools. The kids are thriving. So let's talk about sleep. As a child, it was in very short bursts. The first time she slept through the night was when she started school at age 6. I just literally could not believe it. I was like years walking around in a daze of exhaustion and feeling generally that I lived in a washing machine. My angel was pretty much nonverbal, very little eye contact until she began in her special schools. From there, we began this beautiful journey of unlocking our world, letting her in, and most importantly, us joining her world. I honestly have no words to thank these incredible educators and nurturers for the years of heartfelt, warm patience, determination. There's that word again. I'd like to thank publicly Gabrielle Klein, Shiran Pressman, Evgeny Treberman, Iris Cohen, and Itzhak Levin, and all of the incredible teachers. Some of you may know that in the Jewish religion, saving one's life is like saving the world. This is what these heroes do every day, day in and day out. On to superpowers. My daughter has many. One of them is helping others. Every other week, she does a pop-up lemonade stand at the bus stop. What's the business model? 100% of the proceeds go to charity. Mummy triples the amount, which goes to Mummy and her favorite charity, the Athena Fund. My daughter makes the world a better place with her quest to help others. This is one of the many reasons I'm so proud of her. But this in life is a two-way street, right? We must ask ourselves, how can we make the world a better place for people of determination? The answers: kindness, empowerment, digital skills, acceptance, listening. My mission as a proud juggling mum, juggling all the time, and a professional and a community is to inspire, give back, and also giggle every day, and to teach many around the world the power of love and kindness. I invite you today to support people with determination, the Athena Fund's critical mission, and applaud all the amazing parents and teachers and supporters that we have. Shabbat Shalom, Salam, and have a lovely weekend. Thank you for having me.
Justine, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your warm words. And I know that you understand the teacher's important role with supporting the kids. And thank you for your continued support in us, and really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I would like to start the closing soon, but I would like to share with you where actually are we going next, what is next for us. So we have two directions. First of all, we are working on the classroom of the future. We would like to introduce new technologies to teachers and students. We are thinking about a classroom of 2030. I don't have enough time to share with you, but we'll speak about it next time. And actually witnessing the success of our work in Israel, we want to expand it globally, especially in developed countries. Well, I start my closure, and I would like to share with you a few words that I also said at the conference at the UN. Imagine a world during the COVID-19 pandemic where teachers do not have computers for distance learning. Well, unfortunately, this is the reality today. In most countries, teachers simply do not have mobile computers. Our mission is to empower teachers who are the backbone of our society. Our goal is to harness technology as a tool to empower teachers and students for success in the digital age. Concerning students with special needs who hold a special place in our heart, technology helps them overcome their disabilities and fulfill their potential. Technology can make life better for both children and adults, but the key is to begin by equipping teachers with modern technological tools and appropriate training. Many teachers around the world still don't use computers for teaching. Therefore, I call here on governments worldwide to provide their teachers with laptops, iPads, and professional training. This will give teachers the opportunity to help their students, especially those with special needs, maximize their potential and enjoy a better future. And now I would like to end up and say thank you, a big thank you to Noah. And Noah, I would like to thank you once again for what you are doing for our country, for the book you have published, and for coming here today to support our mission. And now, Noah, the floor is yours to close.
Wow, this was incredible and inspiring and amazing. Athena Fund and its digital toolbox for every teacher program. What a blessed activity and how important it is for the future of our children. I personally commend you for your vast work on behalf of the children in Israel and worldwide, and on behalf of special needs children or children with determination. I love that. Thank you so much. I would like to close the session with a quote from the classic book, Tuesdays with Marie, by Mitch Albom. It's a book that describes a series of last meetings between a teacher and his students before a teacher's death. The book includes a quote by Henry Adams, and I would like to close our discussion today with that quote. A teacher affects eternity. He or she can never tell where his or hers influence stops. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you, Noah. Shabbat Shalom to everybody.